Hey everyone, welcome back. Our next guest founded I Raise Girls and Boys International, a mentoring program with a mission to provide a holistic approach to improve socio-emotional well-being and educational outcomes for youth ages 4 through 21. iRaise is hosting an intimate gathering of local elected officials and community leaders to discuss the youth mental health crisis through new research findings, approaches, and ways in which to address the youth mental health issue in public schools that is at a rise since the pandemic. Please welcome iRaise Girls and Boys International founder and CEO, Shanequa Moore. Hello and welcome.
Hi, Rhina. Hi, it's good to be here.
It's good to have you on again. And it's always lovely to learn about your new choice of topic in focus, right? Because I know your mission is always to address anything that is on the rise with kids who are underserved and underrepresented. I know what I didn't mention in the introduction is that I know that your partners with this particular event is the New York Mets. So let's talk about, this is the second year, right? You're doing it in collaboration with them, right?
Right. So we did not get to do it last year. We were so busy with just getting our programs and schools resumed in person. So that took up all of our time, and we did have to push it to this year. So really excited about it.
Well, congratulations. Let's just talk about it while we're at it, right? Because the beauty of what you do and what I really appreciate is the holistic approach, right? And I know that's the topic of discussion that really needs to be brought into the forefront because it's an emotional issue that needs to be addressed. And I know you have like professional social workers, psychologists. And so let's talk about what the event is going to entail.
Absolutely. So, yep, you're absolutely correct. We have a team of social workers that work in conjunction with New York City Public Schools to provide direct services during a school day with our children. And so this event will be discussing all of the things that we've been witnessing on site in multiple schools across New York City. We'll also be talking about some of our research that we have conducted over the last 2 years during the pandemic, which discusses how youth mental health has been affected. And we'll be talking about some ways to really address that on a more citywide level with DOE. So we're really excited about it. We have a few local elected officials that will be joining us, a few foundations and other nonprofits. It's a small, intimate gathering. So we'll be able to talk about a really crucial topic, but in a more relaxed way with some leaders that we bring in different perspectives to the table.
So is it being conducted in like a forum style?
Yeah, so it's actually going to be in a nice private suite with the New York Mets. We'll have our own sort of area and suite to meet with our stakeholders while enjoying the game. But there will be a specific segment where we'll be discussing youth mental health, and that will start at 3 p.m. sharp and will end at 4:15. The other parts of it will just be an enjoyable time to sort of network and get to know other executives and other leaders throughout New York City and addressing this topic. So there'll be a formal piece and also an informal piece to the event.
So in the work that you have done regarding the research and where you're at now, I wouldn't even consider it post-pandemic, but I mean, I would love to use the term post, I would love for that to really,
Still in it.
I know. However, we are, reuniting and participating in in-person activities. And so I just wondered, like, what stands out the most in your research?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think the thing that stands out the most is the rise in depression and anxiety in young people, which we detected and we predicted that this would be something that would happen, and why we wanted to be at the forefront of dealing with this before schools resumed. Last year, during the before schools actually reopened, during a time when Dr. Misha Porter was the chancellor of DOE schools, we were a part of the advocacy efforts to really raise awareness on the fact that when schools resume, these are the things we should be anticipating. And we did predict it, and our research findings were consistent with our predictions that young people their depression and anxiety symptoms would rise, and it's exactly what we we have been seeing every single day in schools. And we've also been seeing a lot of young people asking for therapy services now. And so kids are now vocal about wanting therapy, wanting help. We've also seen a rise in suicide ideation. So we've seen a lot of clients, a lot of kids that have come to our office and the schools that we work in saying they didn't want to live any longer. They didn't feel like there was any more meaning or purpose to life. And we have seen connections to how the pandemic has affected kids and these ways. And so those, I think, are the things that stand out most is the depression, the anxiety, and the suicide ideation, not just in the children, but unfortunately also in the parents. A lot of our parents, during times when we meet with them, they're exhibiting a lot of trauma from the pandemic. A lot of them lost loved ones, lost jobs, lost social lives, and really are still dealing with it while trying to also help their children. And so it's been a lot of trauma we've been seeing.
And so, and thank you for elaborating on that, because it's apparent. I think we're all seeing it in some form or another. And the idea is that it needs to be addressed before it really amplifies any further. It's already amplified, but when you have this event, first of all, is this event open to specific individuals? Like, who is invited to this event?
Right. So it's open to a specific local elected officials that fund our mental health program. So I can give you some of the names. Councilmember Riley from District 12 will be present. We have Councilmember Kristen Jordan from District 9, Councilmember Ferris, who is in District, I believe, took over District 18, will be a part of us. Hopefully Councilmember Mealy, will be a part of us as well. In addition to a few executives of organizations that we work with that work in conjunction with our programs around this issue. In addition to some of the foundations that fund us. We're also opening up to the public. So there is an aspect, if there are parents or community members that want to support and purchase tickets and just be a part of the event that day, they are allowed to come. It is during the day, so it's May 4th at 1:10 p.m. And that day, believe the New York Mets will be playing the Georgia State. So that's going to be really, really interesting. And I don't remember the name of the team, but I know they're from Georgia. Is it the Braves?
No, I know, but it's just the excitement of being at the ballpark and
oh yeah,
in the midst of people at a live game. So
really
it's
exciting.
all good, right? And so, but before we go, because we got to wrap up soon, I want to know what the goal is after this meeting, this event, this gathering. Is it to implement programs inside of DOE? Right. Like where do you see this? Because it really needs to be expansive.
Yeah, I love that. I love what you're saying, Rhina. You know, I'm on the same page as you, and that is 100% yes. We have a number of new programs we're launching this coming school year, 2022 to 2023 school year, and this is going to be an interlude to that. So we'll be gathering perspectives from other stakeholders on what they're seeing individually in our communities, and we'll be taking all of that in addition to our research findings and the things that we've been seeing, and we'll be implementing that for the next school year. So just really quickly, one of those things are going to be trauma assessments. So we are, one of our goals is to conduct 2,000 trauma assessments for 2,000 children in the 2022 school year so that we can screen early on for trauma before working with them. So that's one of the ways that we'll be implementing some best practices moving forward. We're also going to be launching a principals and partnership program where we'll be working with principals on how to deal with mental health in their school from a more customized school approach. This is a huge issue. A lot of schools and principals are trying to figure out what do we do? Where do we start? How do we bring social emotional services and support without having the resources? We'll be guiding principals through a series of webinars throughout the summer and also going into the next school year on really what does it look like to develop an approach for their schools. So we're really excited about this conversation. We're hoping that great perspective and information come from this and that this is the beginning of many more initiatives in terms of dealing with this mental health crisis. It really takes a village. We can't do it ourselves. We have to pull together and do it together as a community.
Wonderful. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, if you really wanted to put this in a positive light, the silver lining is that now it's time for all of us to focus on holistic approaches to existing, period.
That's right.
Yep. Thank you, Shanequa. All right. So that was Shanequa Moore, founder and CEO of iRaise Girls and Boys International. And if you're interested in more information and tickets, you can visit iraiseinc.org. Stay tuned because Bobby C's weekly sports roundup is coming up next.